I am in the upper reaches of the Arcata Community Forest, and this right here is the headwaters of the Jolly Giant Creek. It begins about 500 feet right above me. From here, it flows a little less than 2 miles through a redwood forest, then it goes past the campus of Cal Poly Humboldt, then through a beautiful little city park, then it goes right through downtown Arcata before it flows out into Humboldt Bay. The length of this creek from this point to Humboldt Bay is a little under 4 miles. Now, I am going to follow this creek all the way from this point to Humboldt Bay. And along the way, I'll be filming parts of it so that I can show you. Oh, and this expedition isn't just about the visual beauty of this lovely little creek. Because along the way, I'll be meeting a few people who can tell us some really fascinating information about the Jolly Giant Creek. So, if you'd like to join me as I embark on a journey to follow the Jolly Giant Creek from its headwaters all the way to Humboldt Bay, then come along on a grand adventure that begins right here on Humboldt Outdoors. My starting point, a few hundred feet upstream, was the first place that I could find water actually flowing in the creek. And I was only able to find it thanks to a City of Arcata employee who was working nearby. He gave me special approval to access that area along a maintenance trail for the purposes of this educational community access program. But our trail begins here, because this is where the Ridge Trail crosses the upper reach of the Jolly Giant Creek. And from here, we'll be able to follow the Jolly Giant Creek through the Arcata Community Forest along established, maintained trails. It's a distance of a little over 1.5 miles. And to make it even easier, I picked up this free map available at the Arcata City Hall, and I went ahead and I marked on the map where the trail follows along the creek. So that's what I'm going to use to follow it down. You can also download these free maps off of the City of Arcata website. But, you know, if paper really isn't your thing, you can also download a free app off the City of Arcata website. It's an interactive map of the entire Arcata Community Forest, and it works either online or offline. You can also download it at some of the trailheads where they have QR codes you can scan. Okay, let's get going. It's all downhill from here. I'll show you some scenes of the creek as we go. And if I find anything particularly interesting, I'll go ahead and stop. All right, let's get this jolly adventure underway. We've come across our very first side creek that flows into the Jolly Giant Creek after it passes under this trail. Now, these are also known as tributaries. And according to the map, as we go downstream further, we should encounter more tributaries. Now, as these tributaries continue to connect into the creek, the flow increases to the point we have often year-round flow in the Jolly Giant Creek a little further down. So, let's keep going down and I'll see if I can find those other tributaries, and I'll keep filming as I go. now on Trail 15, which parallels the Jolly Giant Creek for a little ways. And I do get some nice views from up here as I'm walking along this trail. You know, but I really don't want to go trample in the vegetation and go get you some closer views in the creek. But if you hang tight in a little bit, the canopy will clear out enough over the creek that we can start getting some aerial drone shots. I am having a great time. Okay, about a quarter mile from here, the Jolly Giant Creek flows into a little reservoir. And meeting me there will be Jake Stoll, who is a licensed drone cinematographer. And Jake has graciously volunteered to join me for the rest of the journey once I get there. In fact, he's on standby right now. Let's check in. Hey Jake, how you doing down there? You about ready?
Jake here, at the reservoir, ready to film.
Great, Jake. I'll see you in about 10 minutes.
Roger that, Jake out.
All right. I'll meet you next down at the reservoir. Let's go check that out. And here we are on the shore of the Jolly Giant Reservoir. Now that creek that we've been following just under a mile drains into the other side of this pond right here. And this reservoir was actually the water supply for the city of Arcata from 1937 to 1964. So once the creek water enters here, it pools and then it falls into an elevated grate. And then that elevated grate is connected to a pipe that goes underneath this earthen dam, and then it bubbles up on the other side to become the perennial Jolly Giant Creek. Okay, now it's time to bring in the drone. Jake, you got that drone cam in position?
Drone camera in position, ready to film.
All right, Jake, let's amp this show up a few notches. Cut that drone loose.
All right, let's launch this adventure. Camera
Beautiful place, huh, Jake?
It's great, kind of dense, but real pretty.
Okay, let me show you on the map where we're going. We're starting right here,
Okay.
just below the Jolly Giant Reservoir. We're gonna follow this creek down, and it runs for about a mile through this redwood forest, and then it will end right here on the edge of the campus of Cal Poly Humboldt in this culvert.
All right, interesting.
All right, y'all ready for this adventure?
Let's go.
All right, let's go do some filming, yeah.
Where does this go?
I know, isn't this wild? This creek travels all this distance through the redwood forest, and then it disappears right here. I am going to go meet with a person who's going to be able to tell me where the creek goes from here.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I can go try to scout ahead and see where it emerges. You can look for some of the alder trees. They seem to be growing along the river.
That's a great idea. Go look first.
Okay, I'll be back.
Great, we'll see you.
Bye.
All right, so Jake is going to go ahead and scout ahead to see if he can find a clump of alder trees where the creek emerges. I know it's on the other side of the 101, but I don't know exactly where. So let's go check in with Mark and find out more about this creek and about this underground portion of it. Hey, Mark.
Hey.
Thank you so much for meeting up with me, man. This has been an adventure so far, and I can't wait to talk to you.
Awesome.
Okay, let me get my stuff in order here. So, let's start with, we've been following the creek here, and it's been above ground, more or less, except for some road culverts. Where does the creek go once it goes underground right here?
From here, the creek flows below ground for 3,000 feet, 0.6 of a mile, through Cal Poly Humboldt, underneath the highway, and then it pops out on the high school grounds.
It is contained in concrete all the way through that distance.
Concrete pipe, yeah. 6-foot diameter, 7-foot diameter in some places.
Is it all gravity flow from this point all the way to where it emerges?
It is gravity flow all the way. So that's one thing that keeps it open, hydraulic push.
What about aquatic life?
That's a good question. What's living in this 3,000 foot section? Probably not much, because it's dark, it's a barrier for migration of fish upstream. Some aquatic life, of course, gets flushed in there and may hang out in some little eddies. Concrete pipes don't offer a lot of refuge and deep water habitat. Downstream, now and then, the biggest fish I've seen in this creek was a 20-inch cutthroat in Shea Park, which was cool.
Wow.
Reliable sources have seen 6-7 pound steelhead in Shea Park. This creek is used quite a bit by Pacific lamprey.
Could lamprey get through here, do you think?
They can go through almost anything, so it's possible.
Yeah.
Well, I think what makes this creek interesting is a lot of history for being the water source for the city. A big chunk of the Arcata Community Forest, forms the headwaters. It flows right downtown, right through the middle of town, and then it flows down into the Arcata Marsh and Wildlife Sanctuary. So it links together two of Arcata's biggest open space areas, the community forest and the wildlife sanctuary at Humboldt Bay. It's part of this community's identity. So Arcata has 5 trout streams in its city limits, really, which, what a thing. I mean, what's the value of a dynamic system like a trout stream in a city? It's you can't put a dollar value on it. It's pretty amazing.
It's a real treasure we have here.
If you've hiked down this watercourse, you've had an adventure.
It's been a great walk. Well, thank you, Mark.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too, man. It was fantastic. All right, off I go. All right, Mark explained that the creek runs right under this parking lot on campus. And from here it goes under the Highway 101. And let's check in with Jake now, who is on the other side looking for the creek. See if he's having any luck with that. Jake, you read, Jake? Jake, I'm losing you. Jake, hey, come in, Jake, Okay, we've hit a little glitch here. I've lost complete contact with Jake. It sounds like he might be in some kind of trouble over there. And, okay, so I'm going to have to temporarily discontinue this adventure at the midway point. I have to go find Jake. And if I am successful in finding Jake, and we are able to determine where this creek emerges on the other side of the Highway 101, this expedition will continue right here on Humboldt Outdoors. Jake, come in, Jake. Just stay put. I'll be there real soon, Jake. I'm coming for you, Jake.
and it's beautiful down here. I got some incredible shots. Can you get over here ASAP? Hurry, we're losing light. Jake out.